Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We're just out in the sunshine today. Let's try again.
In St. James's Park, which is just like Buckingham Palace is just over there.
Yes, beautiful, peaceful, but warm morning.
Yeah, very warm.
Perfect weather for reading Srimad Bhagavatam.
So it's Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 41.
So we'll be finishing the chapter today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is taking quite a while.
Okay. Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 41. It is the opinion of expert transcendentalists that the ultimate goal of performing all traditional good works, penances, sacrifices, charities, mystic activities, trances, etc. is to invoke my satisfaction. Purport. There are many traditionally pious activities in human society, such as altruism, philanthropy, nationalism, internationalism, charity, sacrifice, penance, and even meditation in trance. And all of them can be fully beneficial only when they lead to the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The perfection of any activity, social, political, religious, or philanthropic, is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. This secret of success is known to the devotee of the Lord as exemplified by Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. As a good non-violent man, Arjuna did not want to fight with his kinsmen, but when he understood that Krishna wanted the fight and had arranged it at Kurukshetra, he gave up his own satisfaction and fought for the satisfaction of the Lord. That is the right decision for all intelligent men. One's only concern should be to satisfy the Lord by one's activities. If the Lord is satisfied by an action, whatever it may be, then it is successful. Otherwise, it is simply a waste of time. That is the standard of all sacrifice, penance, austerity, mystic trance, and other good and pious work.
Any thoughts?
I think it takes a lot of faith and surrender to be in that mood. I think even when we come to the process and we still naturally gravitate towards those things which we can use as service in the Lord, for the Lord, but it's things we like or are good at or somehow, satisfy us. But it's good nonetheless because it's a service for the Lord. So when things like that taken away or things change or people come in, it's very interesting. Can you still go on serving? Can you still, even if Krishna handles you roughly and tramples you, can you still do it? That's quite a question in itself.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds very clear and precise. I guess, the challenge is, I guess it's like Srila Prabhupada called it, doing the needful. Whereas we do what actually gives pleasure to Krishna. If let's say you cook and you don't want to clean, because you want to cook because you want Krishna to eat what you cooked, or maybe you want to eat what you cooked for Krishna.
Yeah.
But you don't really want to take time to clean up the kitchen, but also Krishna's kitchen should be clean and and it should be left nicely for whoever comes in next after us. And so it's doing those things that we don't want to do. Srila Prabhupada said the most important time to chant our rounds is when we don't feel like it, not when we do feel like it. So it's getting to a point in life where, in general, we're happy, best is joyful and happy, to just do what is required to do, knowing it's bringing pleasure to Krishna. Not just doing whatever it is that we want to do and then feeling all frustrated and morose and depressed and anxiety or anxious because situations may change or because, we've got to do something else now. But Prabhupada gives the example of Arjuna, who, a soft-hearted person who wanted to leave the battlefield and not fight, but he gave up his own satisfaction, because Krishna was requesting him to do something for a higher purpose. So ultimately, if it brings pleasure to Krishna, what is it Radharani says? That if bringing pleasure to Krishna causes me distress, then that distress becomes my greatest happiness, because my goal is to ultimately bring pleasure to Krishna, whatever that is required. And then the story is that Srimati Radharani used to practice during the daytime to... Looks like the crows like to hear about Srimati Radharani. You say her name and they all freak out. So she used to... we lost the parrots and gained the crows. So she used to practice during the daytime walking on sticks with thorns and sharp pebbles, because she would have to sneak out at night to meet Krishna. So she would always have to be careful, and if she stepped on something sharp, then she might go ow and then give herself away. So during the daytime she would practice that and make her feet really calloused and hard so that she could tolerate that, and that's kind of an example of how that's bringing her pain, but it's a pain so that she can bring pleasure to Krishna, and therefore she's happy to take on that austerity and that service. So it's a big topic we're talking about a lot anyway. Maybe they were trying to get us to shut up. Okay, text 42. I am the super soul of every individual. I am the supreme director and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to me only. Purport. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is the dearest in both the conditioned and liberated states. When a person does not know that the Lord is the only dearmost object, then he is in the conditioned state of life. And when he knows perfectly well that the Lord is the only dearmost object, he is considered to be liberated. There are degrees of knowing one's relationship with the Lord, depending on the degree of realization as to why the Supreme Lord is the dearmost object of every living being. The real reason is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:7. Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. The living entities are eternally parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entity is called the Atma, and the Lord is called the Paramatma. And the living entity is called Brahman, and the Lord is called Parabrahman, or Parameshwara. Ishvara Parama Krishna. The conditioned souls who do not have self-realization accept the material body as the... Oh my God.
Oh my God. There's like crows killing each other.
Hare Krishna.
Oh my God, that's gross. 2 crows just attacked another crow, right? Knocked it down. That's gross. Like eating it, biting it. There's a woman here now, and she's going to try and sort it out.
She's brought peace. Okay, where are we at?
Oh, no.
The conditioned souls do not have self-realization except the material body is dearmost. The idea of the dearmost is then spread all over the body, both concentrated and extended. The attachment for one's own body and its extensions, like children and relatives, is actually developed on the basis of the real living entity. As soon as the real living entity is out of the body, even the body of the most dear son is no longer attractive. Therefore, the living spark or eternal part of the Supreme is the real basis of affection, and not the body, because the living entities are also parts of the whole living entity. That Supreme Living Entity is the factual basis of affection for all. One who has forgotten the basic principle of his love for everything has only flickering love because he is in Maya. The more one is affected by the principle of Maya, the more he is detached from the basic principle of love. Wow. One cannot factually love anything unless he is fully developed in the loving service of the Lord. So real love comes from understanding Krishna is the supreme dearmost and is situated in our hearts as the Paramatma, and when we dedicate ourselves to service of Him. Anyway, it's very long purports that will continue.
In the present verse, stress is given to focusing love upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word kuryat is significant here. This means one must have it. It is just to stress that we must have more and more attachment to the principle of love. The influence of Maya is experienced by the part and parcel spiritual entity, but it cannot influence the supersoul, the Paramatma. The Mayavadi philosophers, accepting the influence of Maya on the living entity, want to become one with the Paramatma. But because they have no actual love for Paramatma, they remain ever entrapped by the influence of Maya and are unable to approach the vicinity of Paramatma. This inability is due to their lack of affection for the Paramatma. A rich miser does not know how to utilize his wealth, and therefore, in spite of his being very rich, his miserly behavior keeps him everlastingly a poor man. On the other hand, a person who knows how to utilize wealth can quickly become a rich man even with a small credit balance.
Interesting. Thoughts on that?
No.
I like the last part anyway. A rich miser does not know how to utilize his wealth, and therefore, in spite of being rich, his miserly behavior keeps him everlastingly a poor man, although he has lots of money, but he's still like a poor man because he doesn't have the real thing. On the other hand, a person who knows how to utilize wealth can quickly become a rich man, even with a small credit balance. So it's hard to tell. I think, I guess he means poor from the spiritual sense, but on the other hand, also someone who's not so well off, if they know how to utilize wealth, then they can become well-to-do quickly because they understand who is the source of all wealth and things like that. So.
Yeah, I was also thinking it's like, so someone who's a multi-millionaire, billionaire, because they're miserly and they're always worrying about the money, always trying to protect it and seeing everyone as enemy, you never really enjoy it, you know? And then someone may just have your average income, whatever, working 9 to 5 or whatever, Monday to Friday, but they're much more peaceful and calm and living a more balanced life.
Yes, it's how we define wealth.
Yeah.
What it means to be rich. What is it that makes us rich? I think there's a famous quote, right, that wealth isn't determined by the amass of things we can buy, but it's actually how many of the things in life we have that money can't buy, or how much we have of the things in life that money can't buy. Okay, carry on. The eyes and the sun are very intimately related because without sunlight the eyes are unable to see. But the other parts of the body, being attached to the sun as a source of warmth, take more advantage of the sun than do the eyes. Without possessing affection for the sun, the eyes cannot bear the rays of the sun, or, in other words, such eyes have no capacity to understand the utility of the sun's rays. Similarly, the empiric philosophers, despite their theoretical knowledge of Brahman, cannot utilize the mercy of the Supreme Brahman because they lack affection. So many impersonal philosophers remain everlastingly under the influence of Maya because, although they indulge in theoretical knowledge of Brahman, they do not develop affection for Brahman, nor do they have any scope for development of affection because of their defective method. So that's the empiric philosophers. A devotee of the sun god even though devoid of eyesight, can see the sun god as he is even from this planet, whereas one who is not a devotee of the sun cannot even bear the glaring sunlight. Interesting purport. Similarly, by devotional service, even though one is not on the level of a jnani, one can see the personality of Godhead within himself due to his development of pure love. In all circumstances, one should try to develop love of Godhead, and that will solve all contending problems. Well, the last sentence is just, the crux. But it's interesting how the example of the sun god. So even from this planet, if you don't have if you don't have eyes, but if you have devotion and love for the sun god, you can see the sun god even from this planet on his planet, because you can see him within your heart and within your mind. Whereas even if you're living on the sun planet and you don't have devotion, then you can't really see properly, you'll never see properly. So it means that our consciousness really dictates and determines the way that we see things.
Yeah.
And I guess that premanjana charita bhakti velochanena, that one has to see the Lord with eyes tinged with the salve of love. So we have to see with love. Otherwise, people can see Krishna. Duryodhana saw Krishna, but he just thought Krishna was just a mystic and some kind of person like that.
There's a big police van coming now.
Hopefully not. Maybe it's coming to collect those fighting, scrapping pros. Okay, we'll carry on so we can finish the chapter today.
Text 43. By following my instructions, you can now generate the living entities as before, by dint of your complete Vedic wisdom and the body you've directly received from me, the supreme cause of everything. Text 44. The sage Maitreya said, after instructing Brahma, the creator of the universe, to expand the primeval Lord, the personality of Godhead in his personal form as Narayana disappeared. Purport. Before his activity in creating the universe, Brahma saw the Lord. That is the explanation of the Chatur Sloki Bhagavatam. When the creation awaited Brahma's activity, Brahma saw the Lord, and therefore the Lord existed in his personal form before the creation. His eternal form is not created by the attempt of Brahma, as imagined by less intelligent men. A personality of Godhead appeared as he is before Brahma, and it disappeared from him in the same form, which is not materially tinged.
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Nice chapter. It's similar. It's like a repeated chapter from Canto 2, which was mentioned earlier, that there was similar prayers we read before, but this was a little bit more in depth, and also a chapter. Excuse me. To be honest, I didn't really remember so well from previous readings, but very nice to hear again this mood of Lord Brahma when he's benedicted the opportunity to be the sub-creator, and his mood with doing that, and his humble mood, and also the Lord's mood of personally guiding and instructing his student and empowering him and giving him so much mercy. So it's very, very powerful. Very nice. Any thoughts?
No, I think that's a wrap.
A wrap. Okay. Thank you all very much. Gruntaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Don't forget, if you'd like a copy of a new set of Bhagavatams, please get in touch with us. We'd be happy to make sure it gets sorted out for you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.